MagicTaboo.com presents.
Welcome to Beyond Belief, the art of strange mentalism. With your host, Tommy Burnett. This week's special guest is Trent Rentsch. And now your host, Tommy Burnett.
Sorry, something in my throat. Sorry. Yeah, so welcome back to the art of strange mentalism, magic, comedy, whatever. It's the art of the strange, beyond belief, right over here. That's the title, that's the subtitle, and that's my name. I'm Tommy Burnett, and I am your host. Sorry I couldn't get Ryan Gosling, but maybe next week. But for now, you have to deal with me. We have a great show lined up today. A very good friend by the name of Trent Rentsch is going to be on the show. He's a magician, a storyteller. He's been a radio host. He's done so much. And we're going to be talking about character development, among other things, storytelling. And I'm going to show you a video that he allowed me to play. Some of you may have seen it on Open Mic Magic. I love this routine. And then when we bring him on, we're going to go back and break it down for you. So let's play the video now, and then we'll be right back.
I'm Albatross the Unnecessary. Welcome to another in our series of Junior Inquisition training sessions with visual aids. Chapter 13, Let's Twist Again. The Ace of Diamonds represents a very effective means of persuasion, whereas the Queen of Diamonds, a somewhat confused member of the community, has been accused of heresy. Imagine bathing in the middle of the year. I play the part of my master. He's Grand Inquisitor Numero Uno, the Odorous. Now the device is prepared behind the victim's back, thereby increasing witless anxiety. My master begins the inquisition. Do you confess your crime? No? Great. Perhaps this will loosen your tongue. Now, actually, the victim's tongue has been prematurely removed so as not to distract from the merriment of the moment, you see. My master has a quirky sense of humor. Now, you might think that the victim is inserted in the device. No, the device is inserted into the victim. Much more painful, and it's pressed against the very spine. Now, on good days, you can get them to turn around. But on really good days, you can get them to turn in. Side. Out. Oh, wait. Not only that, you can get them to turn out. Side. In. Oh, wait, this is even better. Now, not only that, you get them so confused and bewildered that they end up facing Earth one way and half the other. Now, a quick snap of the spine. Oh, this is my favourite part. You can actually hear the bones breaking. So look, one half of the heretic is facing inside out, the other outside in. And that's how we discover truth in the Middle Ages. I think he's having issues at home.
I love that routine. I love that routine. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in my good friend Trent Rentsch.
Hi, Tommy. How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm so happy to have you here today.
I couldn't
Um,
be happier to be here.
well, that makes two of us. So, let's talk about that video for a little bit and break it down as you said a couple of days ago. Um,
Yeah, we can kind of talk about where that came from, and I'm sure the magicians in the room are not surprised that I'm strongly influenced by Eugene Berger and
yeah,
Jeff
yeah,
Jeff McBride. I've loved the card warp, but when Eugene did his version, the Inquisition,
mm-hmm,
I said I don't know that I could ever do this. And then Eugene passed, and Jeff, a couple of years later, did his own take, using basically the same script that Eugene had done.
mm-hmm,
And I loved Jeff's too. But then I started softening up. I thought, maybe I should give this thing a try because I had the thought that maybe we could take it even farther with the characters, and have this kind of two-person. Are they two people? Are they schizophrenic? We don't know, but they're very different from each other.
yeah,
Uh, Presenting this piece, and I worked on it for quite a while, and then Halloween came around last year, and I was going to be part of a show for that, and that's when I finally kind of brought it all together, and it took a while. I probably did about 57 takes of that before I was and I'm still not happy. I'm watching it now going, "Oh man, I should have done this. I should have done that." But
you,
it
you always still can. You always,
I know.
no,
Yeah, well, got the cameras up. I can do it again, right? Not
mm-hmm,
right now,
all
but
you
I
can.
can do it again. But it all kind of goes back to where I'm at, I guess, Tommy, with performing magic. You mentioned that I
Mhm.
was a radio announcer for a while, and I was a DJ for a long time,
Wow.
and a creative director at several radio stations. So I kind of go with what I feel, and I
Mm,
feel uh, if I'm not going to be myself, let's take it to the next level as far as I possibly can with the characters. Whether it's
right, right.
Numero Uno the Odorous or Albatross the Unnecessary, who, by the way, is a direct ancestor of Dr. Albert Ross, who's another character that I do
Right.
with Kenton, and you've been on some of those shows that we've
Yes,
done.
yes.
Uh, that's where my head goes. I mean, I start thinking about developing a backstory
Mm-hmm.
on these characters, and I did that with these guys. I'm not going to share everything that I did with these guys, but basically what I do when I do decide to do a character in a trick is write it all down. Write it all down. Where are they from?
Mm-hmm.
How do they live? How did they live? Uh, what are they afraid of? What makes them happy? Obviously, numero uno likes to give other people pain. Makes him the happiest. Uh, so I'll do that entire list, and not so much that I'm ever going to use any of that information when
Mm-hmm.
I'm performing something like that, but it gives me something to fall back on when I'm actually performing it.
Nice.
So I just feel that that makes things stronger if you are going to do a character when
Mm-hmm.
you're performing. Uh, I've got another guy that I've been doing lately, who's called the Singing Brain Rooter. He was he was a plumber. Yeah, and this is where that the backstory comes in. He was a plumber who was driving along in his little plumbing van, and he got hit by a logging truck. And
Okay.
he that day he had an epiphany
Mm-hmm.
that he could read minds, that he could reach out and root around in other people's brains and read minds. But he could only do it when he's singing.
Mm.
So he has a banjo, and he had never picked up a banjo before in his life. Again, this is more backstory that I'm talking about with the brain rooter. Uh, and every time he reads somebody's mind, he has to sing a song and play the banjo. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So he he's a character that I actually developed through a couple of different directions with him.
Mm-hmm.
I actually met a singing psychic, a legitimate singing psychic, when I was producing a morning show here in Raleigh. Oh gosh, about 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she literally, her car did get hit by a logging truck.
Wow.
And she came out and legitimately was a singing psychic. So if she's going to do a cold reading on you, Tommy, it would be la la, hey, hey, I see you haven't shaved your chin in a while. That's how she was, right?
Okay.
So I pulled her in. That whole idea, ever since I saw her, I'm like, God, I got to do a character like that. But then the other place that I pulled it from is actually my great uncle, who in reality, this honest to goodness, was a water witch.
Okay.
When
Mm-hmm.
growing up on the farm, he found out that he could find water, and people would hire him, and he'd go out in his overalls and all that, and he'd find water someplace. But he was just a very down to earth, friendly, down to earth kind of guy who had this ability. And I just found that fascinating. I mean, he'd go find somebody's water, which is a pretty amazing feat when you think about it, then go back home and milk the cows. It was like everyday psychic things, and
Mm-hmm.
so I was fascinated by that. And so I tried to put those two characters that I've known in my life together and come up with this goofball. Uh, I, I, I I'll do a little bit. I won't do his routine. Oh, I'm losing my ears. I hate it when that happens. But when he comes out, it's how you doing? How's your mom and them? My name's Jim Bob, Billy Bob, Ray Bob, Bob, NASCAR Walker Jr. the third. But you can call me Earl. And I am the world's only singing brain rooter. It's right. Now, a lot of people come up to me, they say, Hey, Jim Bob, Billy Bob, Ray Bob, NASCAR Walker Jr., what on earth is a singing brain rooter? Well, I'll tell you, the day that my plumbing truck and I had an intimate encounter with the logging truck, I had an epiphany right in my blue jeans. And then I found that I
could root around in people's brains and read their minds, but only when I'm singing. And then he goes into his whole routine. So
That's great.
the brain rooter is just kind of this character that I love to pull from different parts of my life when I do these
Mhm,
characters,
mhm,
and that's where he showed up. So when it comes to character development, I just think you have to let go a little bit. At least for me, if I'm doing characters like this, I've got to completely let go. If I do the brain rooter, he pretty much takes over. I turn off my brain. And it's the same with the warp routine. Uh, a part of me goes away and they take over these characters. And sometimes I never know where they're going to go. So that can be a little scary sometimes, but I like working without a net.
mhm. So if somebody wanted to create a character for themselves, in your opinion, how could somebody go about doing that?
Well, that's a good question. It took me a long time to get to the point where I didn't want to always do a character where I wanted to be myself. It
Right.
took me a long time because again, I was back from my radio days, and by the way, days was spelled Daze at that point. But
Yeah, I can
I
relate.
I I you've been there.
Yeah.
I always loved the phrase theater of the mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very comfortable going in and doing a bunch of silly voices and being a one-man show and putting on these little things in front of the microphone. And so it was very natural for me to come in with my magic and do some of these things, but not everybody is comfortable doing that, and I dig it. What I
Yeah.
wasn't comfortable doing was being myself as a character, and it's taken me a long time, and I've had to think about this a lot. Uh, I think what it takes is writing your own backstory about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because even if you're yourself, you're going to be an amplification of yourself
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. You can't help yourself when you're performing.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're doing a trick, you got to be present, you've got to be engaged, you've got to make a connection with people,
Mm-hmm.
and that means being an amplification of who you are a little bit. And again, that comes down to writing out your story. Like if I had to sit down and write my story, and I actually did this when I started trying to get more comfortable with just being myself. I would say, okay, five, my hair fell out. No, that wasn't what happened, but it did today. At the age of 5, uh, I went to a piano recital of my aunt's. It was at a little church in South Dakota, outside of Bruce, South Dakota,
Mm-hmm.
USA. Uh, Tiny little church, and everybody did their little recital, and then they went downstairs for a potluck. And all the kids started playing upstairs in the church. And I was thinking the pulpit was like a stage. I'm 5 years old. I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can perform. Next thing I know, I've got all these people staring at me, including my parents, who were like mortified because I'm singing Beatles songs and doing Kellogg's cornflakes commercials in front of all these people in this church.
Mm-hmm.
That's tick number one of how I became a performer, right? So I would write that down. I would write down the first time I got a magic set, uh, the first time that I watched anyone that was on Carson or God, I'm trying to think of his name. Why is it slipping? I'm losing. He was on every Sunday night variety show, and he'd have Coco Chico on, and I tonight we're having a really really big show.
Oh, Ed Sullivan. Ed Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan, thank
Yeah,
you. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, memory's the second thing to go. I can't remember the first. Um, yeah, so I'd watch Ed Sullivan, and I mean, there were some major magicians on Ed Sullivan,
yes,
so there was a lot of pulling from them. And then another thing I would tick off is watching Looney Tune cartoons.
mm-hmm.
Because I feel like my sense of humor started with Looney Tune cartoons. Um,
Yeah,
oh, which reminds me, read this if you've never read it. As a performer, people need to read this. It's Chuck Amuck, Chuck Jones,
oh,
who was the director of some of the best Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, all of those things back in the day.
yeah.
He talks about being a creative and developing character. Um, this is kind of an aside. I apologize, but
No,
I don't
no,
get
no.
I don't get any money when you buy the book. I'm fascinated by character development in those cartoons, and I think that's where the voices came from for me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'd like to think that that's where some of the timing came from. If you read the book, Chuck talks about the fact that they had 6 minutes, no more and no less. They had to deliver 6 minutes, well, 6 minutes or under to a theater on these cartoons that they would do because they were made for adults. They weren't made for kids when they made these things at first,
Yeah.
and they were kind of a pre-show at the theaters. And Chuck's philosophy was, you give me 6 minutes, I'm going to give you 6 minutes to the frame. So he
Oh,
would sit down
yeah.
and clock all that out and the timing. And he liked to famously say, if there was no sound and you're just watching this, you know exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the other hand, Fritz Freeling, who was the composer of a lot of the Looney Tunes cartoons,
Yeah.
if you close your eyes and listen, you know exactly what's going on.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So timing was crucial for them, but it's also where I think I taught some of that. I'm not saying I am a genius at that stuff by any stretch of the imagination, but I certainly taught it and have been addicted to it over the years. So there's my character, Looney Tunes.
But
There's a
I will say, you are a genius. So own that.
super genius. Yeah, like the coyote.
Yeah.
Really eat
Wile
coyote.
E.
Super
Coyote
genius. Yeah.
is
Uh,
genius. But
I get
but
all my
no.
tricks from Acme. Uh,
But seriously, all kidding aside,
well,
you
thank you.
are a genius, and you need to own that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, it's funny. And I just keep digressing, don't I? We never completely get
Hey,
to the point of anything I'm saying here. But
hey,
here's another digression. The first
yeah,
time you and I got together,
yeah.
yeah, strange. Yeah, exactly. The first time you and I had a podcast together, and I can't remember which one it was. I think it was the very first one you ever did,
Magic and mysticism. Yeah,
Magic
yeah,
and Mysticism. And
yeah,
we were talking about what's important as far as misdirection. What's the best tool
yeah.
that a mentalism person or a magician could use? And I think at the time I gave you some fluffed up thing that might have been accurate, but I was just talking off the top of my head. But I've thought about it for a long time ever since then,
Mm-hmm,
saying that self-deprecation is the best misdirection that I have ever been able to use when I perform.
mm-hmm,
Put myself down, get a little giggle in there. And during
mm-hmm.
that giggle, then I can do the dirty work.
Yeah, yeah.
But, and that works for me because,
Mm-hmm.
when you're calling me a super genius, yeah, 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 right. Not so much, and then I'm going to get into a character just to make you laugh. and then I'm going to do something dirty and make that thing happen. But don't discount things like, like people go, oh, you shouldn't put yourself down. Oh, don't do that. Oh, no, no. If you're feeling something, it's
Mhm.
another tool in your toolbox when you're
Yeah,
performing,
yeah,
And for me, it's been a big one my whole life. So why not embrace it and use it?
yeah.
Use what you have. And I would say for being a character, that's another thing that you put on your list. Okay, what in my head are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Uh, what do I hate about myself? What do I like about myself? Because that's going to guide you in some great directions
Mm-hmm.
uh, that you might not even have thought of. And a lot of people don't do self-examination. And I think as a performer, that's a disservice to your audience because you need to be, and it's funny to use the word honest. You need to be honest to be a performing magician. Magicians lying, that's the truth. But there needs to be a kernel of honesty in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you need to find that as you're developing your character, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that's what makes a good lie, is having a kernel of truth within the lie. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what makes a good lie. The bad liars don't do that. They just lie, lie, lie. But the
yeah,
really good liars have something in there that are going to make you believe it, you know. And
yeah,
magicians are great liars.
yeah.
They really
Yeah. I'm not getting paid to say this either, but there's a great show in the UK called What I Lie to You, where comedians and actors are on a panel and they have to either be telling the truth or a lie about themselves and everybody else has to guess. And the some of the lies on the show are told so sincerely and so well, but it's always that one piece of truth that makes it believable. But yeah, so I've been kind of been watching that not only because it's fun, but it's also a good a good study on how to be deceptive and yeah. Anyway, I think
absolutely.
now I'm digressing on my own self.
Well, there you go. See, the second you bring me on, it's going to be nothing but one digression after another. That's just the way we're going to play this game. I think John Archer writes for that show, if I'm not mistaken. He
Does
mentioned
it?
about that.
That would make
Uh,
sense. It would make
which
yeah.
that was a new one on me. I didn't realize that John Archer wrote for television, but apparently he's been writing for a long time for television over
Wow.
there.
That would make sense. He's a very funny man.
Oh,
Um,
he's incredible.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, he's a great musician, but he also has really good comedic timing. It's insane.
yeah,
Um,
when you talk about timing, he's another one that I love to watch.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love him. I love David Williamson, of course.
yeah, yeah.
David is the master of the offbeat, you
Yes.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and I can burn his hands, and I still don't see it. Even on an offbeat, I go, okay, I know this is coming. Can't see
Right.
it at all, you
Uh,
know.
uh,
But on top of it all, he's funny. He's
yeah,
a hilarious guy, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So, so that's the kind of stuff I like to do. I like to do the funny stuff, you know.
yeah. I
Maybe
do too.
someday when I grow up, I'll be like those guys. We'll see.
Maybe you already are and you don't know it. Mm.
Boy, this limoncello is good. Mm.
If one thing you and I have in common is that tend to downplay ourselves
Well, like
when
I said, self-deprecation is a
yeah,
wonderful misdirection tool,
if,
you know.
yeah,
So,
it's finally you're performing. Anyway, um, so what else?
we're going to chat a little bit about storytelling, I think.
Yes, yes.
You know, as I keep playing with my ear, it's not that I'm trying to get
Yeah,
wax out of it. My earbuds
oh,
keep falling out.
yeah.
They have a mind of their own.
It's all the ear hair in my ears that make them fall out. I don't even bother wearing them anymore.
Well,
If
we'll have to talk about manscaping another time, Tommy.
Yeah,
But
it's like a forest in there.
the forest of the aged, right? You know, that's literally what it is. Um, but storytelling, yeah, you had mentioned you wanted to chat about that a little bit, and
Yeah, yeah,
that's something that I love. I love a good story, obviously. Um, which is why the card warp again, going
yeah,
back to that's why I love performing that, just because I think it's a great story. It's twisted, but it's a no pun intended, but it's a great story.
yeah.
Uh, I like framing my work in stories. I'm I'm of the belief that sometimes people are too heavy-handed with storytelling magic. Um,
Yeah.
it's like, well, I got this box from in my trip to Zanzibar, and you know, I met the Maharishi, and he gave me this power with this magical box. And I think people start tuning that out in this
Mm-hmm,
day and age.
mm-hmm.
You know, I think there was a time for that in storytelling in that regard, and I think that there's some people who do that very well. But if I'm going to do that, I am going to do a character.
Right.
I'm gonna I'm gonna pull out, you know, whoever. Saul. This is what Saul sounds like, by the way, Tommy.
Yeah.
Saul is. We had a side conversation about Saul.
It's
Uh,
exactly what he sounds like, by the way.
oh,
Yeah,
good. That's what I thought.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but if I'm not doing a character piece, I still want to pull in uh, pieces of a story. You know, so like I will bring up my great uncle who was the Water Witch when I'm doing some mentalism, and that I've got that background. But even something as small as well, I can do something for you. Here, let me.
Okay,
Oh, this is something. It's nothing fancy,
okay. Let me
but
find.
I had an idea. Uh, I actually found this in a Martin Gardner book, and decided that I was going to do something with it.
Mm-hmm,
So it was two paragraphs in a Martin Gardner book, and I thought, you know, this thing has legs. And at the same time, I'd been reconnecting with a lot of my high school friends. And I grew up in Brookings, South Dakota, home of the Jackrabbits, Fear of the Ears,
mm-hmm,
uh, and South Dakota State University is there. I grew up there. I went to college there, and then I escaped. I ran as fast as humanly possible because it's a little tiny town, and I thought I wanted to be somewhere bigger.
mm-hmm,
But a lot of the people that I went to high school with have stayed there. They got
mm-hmm.
married, they had kids, they got divorced, they got remarried, they had more kids. Now they've got grandkids at this age. So they've built their lives in that little town of Brookings, South Dakota. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to do an ode to the people who stayed behind. So this is a story of 8 young lives. Four were girls and four were guys. Now the guys played alone The girls called him Snooty, while the boys were convinced that the girls all had cooties.
Hmm?
Then puberty hit, as puberty does. The boys chased the girls. Their brains were abuzz. Now they all mixed it up, and they mixed up again. Some became lovers, and some became friends. You see, at times there were fights that would cut them in two. But the cruelest cut came from somebody new. You bastard.
Hmm?
After that, again, they took sides. Once again, 4-4. Clouds, storm clouds pass over, and they ended the war. They came back together, hand in hand, two by two. Four couples, eight friends, and our story is through.
Hmm.
So that's an example of storytelling I like to do, where I'm kind of bringing it back to where I came from, you know,
Whoops.
and just taking something that
Mhm.
was such a simple little piece. The trick behind it is just painfully simple, but framing it in a way that I can kind of tell a story about myself, about my life, and about the people that I grew up with, you know. And I think down to earth stories like that really draw people in,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So tell the story, but tell it slant if you want to, but tell a true story, but tell it slant.
yeah,
I'm trying to remember the philosopher that said that, but the writer that said that. But it's good advice when you're doing a trick and making it your own.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
because we all have a lifetime of experience that we can draw from, that we can pull in, you know. Um, I I do a couple of tricks other than the singing brain rooter, but I do one or two effects now where I sing, just because I had a little bit of a background in singing. I've certainly lost that talent, but I still like it, so I enjoy doing something with it,
yeah.
you know. I know and guys and gals that do cooking things because that's their background. They're into cooking.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do the cups and you're into sports, for heaven's sakes, get those little baseballs, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and make
yeah,
a story out of that. But just you don't have to make up a story. You've already got stories. You've got a
right,
million stories. You got a million little things.
yeah,
I close my stage act with something of Jeff McBride's. It's the knots off silk,
yeah. I love it. Yeah.
and at the end of the show, and again, this is storytelling as I tell it. Uh, I'll thank everybody. You've been awesome. You really have. You've been more than a toaster oven to me. You have. It's been amazing. Look at all those smiles. Look at all the smiles out there right now. Don't we need more of that? We need look at this crazy life that we have right now. It, it's all crazy. And then I'll knot the silk and say, it's all he said and she said and them against us, and we're twisted into knots. We're twisted into knots. And you know that when we walk out of this theater, all of that's going to come back. So I want you to hold on to those smiles for just a little bit longer. Because with a little hope, a little faith, we can take this knotted up, twisted world and turn it into a place where little miracles can happen. And that's when the knot comes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I present the silk after that, there's a heart cut into the silk. And all it takes is a little heart to make this world a better place.
Nice.
Now that's not a story, but it is a story.
Right.
And that's what I mean about great storytelling, is when someone, and not that I'm saying that's great storytelling, but that's what I believe in as far as great storytelling is just make it real. Bring it home to these people, engage people.
Mm-hmm.
And I just,
Yeah. I mean, you can tell stories without actually saying anything. You don't have, people assume that, oh, I need to tell a story, otherwise my message isn't going to be interesting. It's not what that means. Not really. You
right.
know, your message has to tell a story. Now, I mean, if you're good at telling stories, which you are, I'm not. Um,
Uh,
I no,
stop that.
I'm really not. I my stories are good, but um, well, this is this is my view on it. I could be wrong, but I know if I was in the audience, I would not want to hear me telling story after story after story after story. Um,
But
it,
that said, you can write your scripts in a storytelling form without necessarily beating people over the head with a story, you know?
absolutely, absolutely. You know, uh, what I try and do is tell a story without telling a story, without making it sound like I'm telling a story. If I don't always do it successfully, but that's my goal because I have a speech impediment and most people can understand me, but there are a lot of people out there who can't, and I get that. I've accepted that, and I do my best to be understood. Um, but
And a story can be more than speech too. And
yeah,
again, this goes
yeah,
back to the Looney Tunes where
right,
you could turn off the sound and know exactly what's going
yeah,
on, right?
exactly, yeah,
It's body language, it's facial
yeah,
expressions,
yeah,
it's sometimes it's just how you handle like if you're got a deck of cards. I'm not a card shark by any means,
yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah.
got a few pieces that I do with cards, and I purposely handle them a little loose because that's
Mm-hmm.
part of my character.
Right.
That's the self-deprecation. As a now, can I do a decent shuffle and not make it look sloppy? Yeah, I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
But that's not me.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not my character. So
Yeah.
so even in the way I'm handling the cards, it's it's telling a story,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
You know,
know.
uh, the story when I'm on stage, the story that I'm trying to portray is that I'm just a guy who can do weird things every now and then, and these other weird things that I do. It's not that's basically the story. There's no like in 1869 unless I'm doing like a bizarre act, and then I'm
You're
like,
right, and there are
yeah,
there are exceptions to this
yeah,
rule, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
For
But
sure.
yeah, usually if I'm doing mentalism, I don't do too many deep stories. As our dear friend and mentor Kenton says, meaning is the best misdirection. So if there's any inkling of meaning in there, um, and the message is, the magic doesn't even have to be that great.
Right.
As
Right.
long as,
No, you're right. I mean,
as long, yeah,
you can take a small thing and turn it
yeah,
into a huge thing,
yeah,
just by the way you frame it and the way that you present it and tell it.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's a lot of power in everyday stories,
Hmm.
I think. And when you're performing for an everyday person, I try to think about where their life is. Who are they? What are they? And again, this is the whole persona thing, but I'm doing this to the audience now as well.
Yeah,
Uh, she looks like, she's tired. She's having a glass of wine. I can see that. She's with her husband. Uh, she's showing people pictures of her kids on her phone to her friends that she's with. So I'm rolling this all in my head. Okay. She had to get up at the crack of dawn, get the kids to school somehow, you know, uh, get through her day, work day, and make it home in time to do all the kids' stuff. And then she got them all settled down, got the babysitter there, and finally escaped with her husband, you know. So where is her headspace at that point? She wants a little relief. She wants a laugh. She wants to escape. Not that her life is horrible. It's
right.
just been terribly frantic that day, right? And so I try to meet people where they're at
Yeah,
and meet their need when I perform. Whether it's comedy, whether it's just engaging them, whether telling a story that they understand. You know, that's where my head goes.
yeah.
And I'm getting a little heady here. I'm sorry. And all I've been
No,
drinking is sparkling
no,
water too, Tommy. I mean, it's
yeah.
not like but I think it's important. I think we have to.
Mental.
There you go. There you go. I
Yeah,
think it's very important to consider the audience.
absolutely. Yeah.
I don't consider myself when I'm performing. I consider them. I'm listening to them. I'm reacting to them. I'm giving them a smile
Hmm.
that they desperately need. You know, that smile might just be on my face. Maybe they're getting a groan. I don't know on the other side, but I'm certainly trying,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, uh, because magic isn't about us as a performing art. Magic isn't about us when we're performing for someone. It's about our audience.
Yeah,
And I think that's forgotten a lot of the time.
it is. Absolutely. Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
climb off my soapbox here, Tommy. Sorry.
And I'll get on mine and say, I talk about that in my book. If you don't have it, you forget it. I know you
That's
have it.
right.
Yeah. I know you have it. And I know a few people here have it too. So, yeah. Um, and now I'll get up my soapbox and
We both had our soapboxes, and I think that's great.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
buy Tommy's book if you don't have it, because I'm telling you, much of what I've been blathering on about here the last hour, he has written down in that book, and it's a good read for someone who's really serious about performing. And I think anybody that performs, even if they don't do magic, could get a lot out of your book, quite honestly.
yeah, I think you probably could. I know I've sold books to a lot of magicians who don't do mentalism, and they said they got so much out of it, which means a lot to me. That is that versatile. But yeah, I think you're right. I think any performer can get something out of it. Um, but
Oh, I,
anyway,
I think so. I think there's a lot of value in what you put together in that book. And if you buy today, I'll get a 12% discount tomorrow. So,
You will. You
and
will.
Magic Taboo. So, no, seriously, it's a wonderful read, and he did a great job. Oh, not 12%? Shoot.
20% for you. 20% for
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind.
before we get to the end, this has been so much fun talking to you. And I said it before we went on air, but I want to say it now too. I really miss talking with you, and um, yeah, you're
We got
really
to do
good.
it more. We got to
Yeah, we
yak more.
definitely do.
Uh,
We do. Yeah,
you and I need to go over, across the pond together sometime and just
absolutely.
hang
That
out.
was,
And we talk about
yeah,
getting over there and going to
yeah,
Blackpool and all of that. We got to make that happen one of these years.
yeah, definitely. That would be a blast. Yeah. I wanted to ask you one last question, which is going to be hard because it's a hard question for me.
Okay.
What's what's your favorite Looney Tune cartoon? Like the
Oh, my
actual,
favorite Looney Tune cartoon out of all of them.
yeah,
Well,
the episode.
uh, I I will say probably What's Opera Doc,
Oh, okay, I
which is a
know.
Bugs Bunny cartoon, and it's an absolute classic. And if you've never seen it, the other one would be The Rabbit of Seville.
Yeah,
I tell everybody that everything that I know about classical music I learned from Looney Tunes, and
mhm.
there's a lot of truth to that statement.
It is a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Not only music, but literature too. Um,
Oh, absolutely.
my favorite is the Connecticut Rabbit and Sport.
Oh,
That's
yeah, that's a good one too.
my favorite one. Yeah.
Yeah, where
Uh,
Yosemite Sam keeps falling over and over again. That's a good
yeah.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But again, these are silly. But if you really watch them and watch that timing, oh man,
Yeah.
genius,
Yeah.
absolute
Well,
genius.
the one with the monster with
Oh,
the head.
yeah, yeah.
I forget the name of it, but
Oh, you monsters are such interesting people.
people.
You know,
Yeah.
I love bugs. You know, watch out, or I'll start singing out of the Rabbit of Seville. Love that. That one is amazing. So,
Yeah, you're nice and clean, although your face looks as if it had gone through a machine.
that to me was genius right there. That
Yeah.
was genius. You know,
Yeah.
so
Um,
strange mentalism, very strange today. Yeah.
yeah. There's also one where he plays the concert piano. Uh,
Yes.
um, and the opera singer, Giovanni Jones.
Yep.
That in
Yep.
itself, the names that they have, Giovanni Jones is hilarious.
Just
Uh,
just brilliant, brilliant people.
yeah,
Doing the impossible. I mean, they did not have the technology, obviously, that we have today to do those kind of
yeah,
things. And what they managed is inspiring.
it is.
And
Yeah,
you know, in an age where AI was like they had no idea that that ever was going to come down the pike. You know, and
right.
what they could do is incredible, incredible. And it's a good lesson to any performer.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of inspiring, you inspire me. Um, Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you
Uh,
for having me. This has been a blast.
you,
Hopefully for more than just you and I.
yeah, yeah. If not, screw 'em. No, in fact, I'm gonna tell everybody gallery because they were clapping before. Maybe
Oh,
again, but
thank
yeah.
you, my friends. Thank you
For,
for joining
for,
us
those,
today.
for those of you on Facebook and you want to be in the Zoom room, there's always a link in the group Beyond Belief that you can come directly here and join in the fun. If it's been fun for me, hopefully it's been fun for you. Trent, again, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you in the green room one more time.
Is that the one that's padded that you had me in before? That room that was padded?
Yeah, the one that has a really comfortable jacket.
Was that just for me, or do you do that for everybody when you put them in that
Oh,
restraining jacket? That
some people ask for it, so if it's kind of get used to
I
keeping
bet I
it,
could name some names. I bet I know which ones would
you
like that.
probably could. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Tommy. This has been wonderful.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was my good friend and yours, Trent Rentsch. Um, Next week we go all the way out to the UK, and we'll be talking to my friend Michael Diamond, who is a musician, a bizarre musician. I believe he does hypnotism. He's a creator and a builder, and we'll be talking about a lot of really cool stuff. So until then, remember to keep it strange, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
You've been watching Beyond Belief with your host, Tommy Burnett. Thank you to Trent Rentsch. See you next time. Next week's guest is Michael Diamond, Saturday, May 9th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well, that was fun.